Next, I would like to introduce Mary Heather Jinko. You want to come on up?
Mic check, mic check. All right. Just want to make sure it works good. Okay, buenos dias and half a day, everyone. My name is Heather, and today I'll be sharing with you my experience moving from an island to an isthmus to explore the amazing world of bats. Now, even before I accepted this position last year, I always thought that bats were cool creatures. Although I had never seen one up close before or got to handle one, I did grow up seeing fanihi, which are these fruit bats, flying over my childhood home every dusk. And I just remember being in awe of these flying foxes in the sky and finding out that their populations were threatened due to poaching and habitat destruction became sort of like the root for my passion in wildlife conservation and wanting to connect communities to that work. So I graduated college, and then I found out about this RaMP-UP program where I could not only build upon my research skills, but also gain experience working directly with bats. So knowing no Spanish and not knowing where the year would take me, I moved from Guam all the way over here to Panama. It was a long plane ride, but yeah. So I started off my time here in the Bat Lab, shadowing some of my mentors, learning about the different methods to catching bats and what were the proper ways to handle them. And this was actually the first time I got to handle a bat and remove it from the net, which was a bit stressful because you have to be mindful of your fingers and making sure that they don't bite you. And you're also like worried about mishandling the bat, making sure that they're not hurt or anything. But also it's just a night full of excitement. And as you can see from this photo here, it was a core memory for me finally being able to hold a bat in my hands. But I was also learning about the bat world in general, about the many different type of bat species that can be found here in Panama and how they provide important ecosystem services for us. I learned about the diversity of diets that can be found within one single family, from blood to fruits to insects, pollen, nectar, fish even. All of these things are eaten by a family of leaf-nosed bats found here in Panama. And then I got to work with a frugivore from that same leaf-nosed family, where Lauren and I spent our first 4 months developing a project looking at how artificial light and habituation affects the foraging behavior of these species. She'll be sharing more about that after me, but this is basically a time where we first started learning how to structure behavioral research with bats. And as I was learning of other bat species here in Panama, I decided I wanted to spend my last 6 months working with my favorite bat from here, Trichops cirrhosis. So the first thing you may notice are the really large ears of this bat species, and it actually had me thinking of the fairy tale Red Riding Hood and how the wolf dressed up as the grandma. But anyways, the whole thing of this bat is that they're eavesdroppers. So they listen for their prey's calls, who are also awake at night, in order to find them. So common prey items would be like frogs who are constantly calling, or like katydids that are like moving around in the grass and that the bat is able to hear and listen for. However, a few years ago, a hummingbird DNA was found in a single fecal sample. And this is interesting as the Panama population of these bats were thought to just be eating like frogs and katydids and stuff. But this fecal result shows that these bats do eat diurnal prey like Floriciga mellifera over here, a hummingbird that's meant to be diurnal and likely is sleeping and is not moving around at night. So that got me wondering, how common is this bird-eating behavior? Do they prey on nests? And does size and type of bird or nest matter? But looking for these birds basically affirmed how much I enjoyed being in the field. Bats love to be in really odd places, so I'll be crawling through drainage tunnels under the roads, I would be climbing in bunkers, or just be out really late at night mist netting and playing frog calls to draw my bats in. And it was through this time that I got to know the bats I was working with pretty well. So all these bats are who I tested And they had their own unique names and unique pit tag ID numbers and even their own personalities. Since I was keeping them for several nights, I would hand feed them food, and it would be much like trying to convince a little kid or a toddler to eat their vegetables. Some would take to it pretty well, and others, it would take a while for them to like start eating. But basically, keeping captive bats was a very unique and fun experience. And then it came to the actual testing, so back to the research aspect of this. The following nights, I would run buffet experiments with bird mounts and nests to see if they would attack any of these items. So as you can see here, I would put them in these tents, have the items out available for them, record it for 3 hours, and score for any interactions with these items. I also set up cameras within the field to see whether this bird-eating behavior could be documented in the wild. And I would set them up in known foraging areas and recorded for these as well. And we did find that some of these frog-eating bats do eat birds. So 4 out of the 14 bats responded, and although we couldn't document this behavior in the wild or confirm that they eat eggs as well, this suggests that eavesdropping bats may have more of an impact on birds than previously thought. And this example here actually lasted for 3.5 minutes. So obviously this bird predation is happening out there. Yeah, this one is Zeke. He got very excited when it came to that bird. But yeah, the novelty of bat species eating things that weren't thought to be a part of their diet before is exciting. I had the chance to share these results in conferences and other outreach events hosted by the lab, and actually being not only able to meet other cool researchers, but connecting with the community in this way has been one of my favorite parts of my time here. I was also managing the Bat Labs page as well, so drop a follow. And yeah, not only was I doing research, but science communication and outreach. And throughout my time here, I would get asked a lot, why study bats? My default answer would be, why not? You know, they're cool. I love them. But then I'd get told that bats drink blood, they cause the COVID pandemic, they'll give you rabies. Bats are basically shrouded in mystery, and what people don't understand, they fear, and fear leads to misinformation. But it's amazing how getting people to see bats in real life, clearing up these misunderstandings, and sharing their benefits for us can change perspectives. Bats are important seed dispersers, they are pollinators, and they are basically free pest control. They're more scared of us than we are of them, and leaving them to do their job means happy bats, happy ecosystems, and in turn, happy humans. And being able to play a part in changing that narrative of fear to appreciation has been incredibly rewarding. And as I move forward with my next steps after RaMP, I'm excited to be able to put to work the skills I've learned here towards bat conservation in the Marianas. And in the future, I picture a time where I'd be able to do research back home with the finihi, our very own fruit bat right here. This video was actually taken by my little sister. So lucky, and this was only after I moved away from home. But anyways, they're our own native bat, and they're very important seed dispersers for our forests. However, their population numbers are dwindling, and I hope to be able to play a role in letting those populations bounce back and being able to connect communities to those conservation efforts. And overall, I'm just really grateful for the year-long opportunity I've had here, getting to work with all of the amazing people at the Bat Lab. Everyone has been so warm and welcoming and always willing to teach us new things and lending a helping hand and just guiding us throughout this whole year. I'd like to thank our mentors, Rachel, Greg, May, Jay, Logan, Louisa, and for guiding us, and the bird team at NAUS for collaborating with us for this project. And also to my catching team, Nair, Jorge, and Arhili, who I wouldn't have been able to get any of my bats without them. Honestly, they're amazing. Muchísimas gracias. And of course, to my RaMP-UP family, moving away from home was hard, but y'all have made Panama my second home. So I'm excited for everyone here to hear more about their projects because they've been up to some really cool stuff too. But yeah, to wrap up, gracias a todos y gracias a los murciélagos de Panama. Thank you.
One question.
Yes. Sorry, where?
We can take one question.
Oh, yes. We have time for one question. Yes.
What's your favorite bat?
My favorite bat probably has to be just, I want to show a picture of him, that's why. Godot. His face is so funny here. Also, he was just very well behaved, and I would feed him fish, and he would take it up so easily, and he was a very nice bat to handle. But yeah, and sorry? Yeah. Thank you, everyone.